Okay, let's zoom in a bit, pin the comment. Hello, welcome to another session of Fashion Bites Chat. Thank you for joining us again. I am looking to pin this comment. Here we go. I'm Hillary, the founder of the Fashion Bytes platform. We're here to support and nurture creative entrepreneurs, filling in the gap between education and what happens in real life. This is our way to connect, collaborate, and share. We do have the lovely Amanda Fitzgerald coming on with us tonight to talk all about PR strategy, which would be great. For those of you not familiar with us, we usually have educational panel discussion events talking about running your own business, focused on running your own creative business. So we've had quite a few informative chats there on IGTV to catch up. Oh, I think Amanda's here. Let's get her on while we wait for her to come on. But yes, we talk about, as we will tonight, PR. We have marketing, finance. Hello.
Hey. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your knowledge this evening.
Yes. It's going to be exciting.
So before we get started, please tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name is Amanda Fitzgerald. I help entrepreneurs get into the press. Why? So that they can find a whole load more people outside, social media, because everybody's mad around, sending posts and all this stuff, and all the, on Twitter, Instagram, you name it, which is brilliant. But can you imagine going outside of that network and actually finding people when you get published, or featured in publications, which sometimes you've never heard of because, you've pitched and we've sent out a mass email and suddenly gets a press release, gets picked up by an amazing journalist. So basically it's broadening your reach of how people can discover you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, before we dive into the questions, may I ask, how did you get your name, the Ultimate Door Opener?
Yes, that is what clients call me, or I am known by my clients. I don't like to say I am the ultimate door opener, even though I am. Hey, there's a door right there. Yeah, so I was given that title because I was running a fashion line before I, became a PR expert. Anyway, then I evolved into doing what I'm doing right now because I got masses of press coverage for my own business when I was running the knitwear line. Anyway, and then one of my first clients said, Amanda, I want to get into Psychologist magazine. I have collected that magazine for so many years. They literally could be, legs on a coffee table because I've got so many of those publications. Get me in there. That's all I want. And I thought, oh my God, that's a bloody steep call. Literally to have one publication. So I got that woman into, actually she's a friend as well. I got her into Psychologist. She got a 4-page spread, bloody amazing. Wow. And she said, Amanda, you are the ultimate door opener. And therefore that name has kind of stuck with me thereafter.
Wonderful. That's a great story. Now, do you find that people sometimes confuse PR and advertising?
Yeah, do you know, it's really interesting. When I was going away from doing my own PR, I was actually running a business. I was on a business course, and I was learning how to run my own business. That's like 13 years ago. And then the guy kind of picked up that I was quite into my PR and advertising and everything. And he asked me to do a talk, to give a workshop on what is the difference between PR versus advertising. And, the important thing is PR is free. You do not have to pay journalists to get featured into the press unless it's advertising, which therefore it becomes an advertorial. Okay, so advertising is when you're spending your money on having an advert which you, the business owner, writes. Advertorial, you write it, and I think I haven't actually done an advertorial, but I believe, I don't know, I think also the editors look at it and they kind of, you know, you work around it. But PR, you actually being featured, you don't have anything to do with it. Well, obviously you're going to have something to do with it, so they're going to read your press release, but you'll be interviewed by the journalist. That's the journalist's words. Okay.
Right, right. Thank you. Now, do you need like a PR toolkit or press pack? And are they the same thing? Are they different? And what do they include?
Okay, so a PR, it was really interesting actually, because yesterday I named it National Press Kit, Share Your Press Kit Day, because I run a club. It's my God, all my dogs are suddenly banging all over the place. Yeah, so the press kit is a really important part of your PR toolkit. Now, your PR toolkit can be your lookbook, you know, because at your fashion, so I assume you're talking to, you know, people who are watching are going to be in the fashion industry. So you'll have a lookbook that might be digital or it might be actual paper still these days. So that's one thing. Your photographs, your images of you, of your beautiful clothing online, you know, however, whatever you do. So there's 3 types. You have to have cutouts. Okay, so if a magazine's going to pick you up, they literally can drop that picture straight into a magazine and it doesn't have any background. Okay, so that's a still life. There's pictures of your models wearing the stuff, and there's also probably pictures of you wearing your own stuff as well. Okay, that's part of the PR toolkit. Another part of the PR toolkit is having your website up to scratch, making sure that you've got very clear contact details on the website. So if a journalist has seen your press release or seen you in Twitter or wherever they've picked, you know, found you, they go onto your website and they go, boom, I can phone her up right now. There's a telephone number. It's so important. Make sure, this is one of my pet hates, and it's not a PR toolkit, but it's one of my things which I think you need to have. Make sure that the bottom of your website always says copyright with the actual year that we're in. So very often you're going to go to someone's website that says copyright 2007. It's like, excuse me. If you can't keep that on track, you're hardly going to be ahead of the fashion, are you? So make sure that's that. Make sure your copy is sharp and punchy. Another thing is to have a great about page. And your press kit is literally, and we have from the house of Amanda Fitzgerald PR, we have a beautiful template which my clients were all sharing on social media yesterday. And it's a fantastic, I mean, this is such a good tool. I mean, the journalists love it. It's just literally a 1-pager, and it's got your top line. It's got what you do, like PR expert or journalist or physiotherapist, you know, whatever you are, fashion designer, whatever you are, top line has a small bio, and then it has topics that you can talk about, that you can train people on, and then it's got testimonials, places where you've appeared, and it's also got all your social media handles. So it's just a fantastic, colourful and bright, and then you can showcase your top products as well, because I have a lovely female tailor, the first female tailor of Savile Row, who's actually one of my clients, and she's got beautiful pictures demonstrating her suits and everything. So it's a one-stop shop. It's a brilliant piece of kit.
Excellent, excellent. I think I might need that, but
there you go.
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to
that. So importantly, when it comes to journalists, how do you get them to notice your press release?
Well, you need to decide why you're going to the press.
Okay.
So I'm going to put my hat on from running my knitwear business. Okay, so that was very seasonal. I used to import beautiful alpaca knitwear from Peru, from you know, the hills of the Andes. Okay, so why am I going to be getting into the press? I'm going to get into the press because I have got some brilliant stocking fillers, some beautiful little socks. And also, don't forget, I was competing with cashmere. Now, nobody knew what alpaca was about 8 or 10 years ago when I was running the business. So I was going to the press to educate people. I was going to the press to show that there's an alternative to cashmere. I was going to the press to show that my fibre doesn't bobble up like cashmere does. So my ponchos would be £195. You spend exactly the same amount of money on a beautiful cashmere poncho, and then it's gone, you know, literally after wearing it 5 or 6 times. The seatbelt, you know, when you wear a seatbelt and it goes all bobbly, you know. So my stuff was really top quality, so I was showing an alternative. It was seasonal, you know, ski hats. So I was thinking about think about all the winter seasons that you can peg your story to. So when you want to get into the press, when you want to be noticed, first off, you need to know why the hell you're going. But another really important thing is about being noticed is having a killer headline. Okay, so why are you going to stand out from the crowd? So you're not going to go and simply say, press release, alpaca knitwear range out. No, 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 no. You will say something eye-catching like, you know, move over cashmere, enter, you know, new, you know, non-bubble-free fiber is all, you know, or something like that. And also,
Okay.
with, let's just go back to the cashmere. That, you know, that's created in you know, in Mongolia. It's the goats, and they're creating dust bowls in Mongolia because these you know, they're having to get all the water to feed the goats, and so it's not sustainable. Right. It's, you know, so again, for me it was eco fashion as well. That's why I was really passionate about running it, because I was importing knitwear from Peru, and this alpaca naturally happens because these alpacas are just grazing on the Andes and they need to be sheared. Okay, so there's no cruelty or anything like that. So it's also a good, another good reason for the story.
Right, right. So if you're going to pitch, well, I'm thinking most of the time you're going to pitch via email.
Correct. I
and
mean,
so
normally, I was going to say,
Mm-hmm.
normally pre-COVID, you'd have people, the journalists working in their, you know, the Daily Mail. They'd be in Derry Street, in off the King's, not off Kensington. Basically, they'll be working in the head offices, but nowadays we all know everybody's working from home pretty much. So, and then you can't call the switchboard, so you have to have a really good headline when you're going to email the journo, or you can approach them via Twitter or where else, you know, LinkedIn, wherever you can see them, where they actively are doing business. For example, don't approach a journalist when she's got like a private account, not private, you know, it's obviously public, but she's not talking about work and it's just talking about her family and her kids. You don't approach them there. It's kind of like, not good. See what they're doing over at Twitter.
Right, right. And talking about Twitter, I know that there is a journal request hashtag.
There is.
Do you recommend that, and how does that work?
Okay, so that's a fantastic hashtag. So you've got hashtag journo request, hashtag Harrow, help a reporter out, hashtag PR request, and I think there's another one like hashtag media request. But the one, well, which all my clients get a massive amount of success is hashtag journo request. Now you have to go on, this is a killer tip, okay? So when you go on to Twitter, you'll see you've got latest, people, top, and you know when you go on Twitter, you've got all those things. You can choose what you want to look at, okay? Yeah, so it's latest, people, top, and blah, blah, whatever. So do not go to top, as in, because that's the one, you know, that latest hashtag, whatever you're looking up, is the one which has got like the most amount of likes and follows and comments. And if you're going to hop into that, you won't have any chance because it's already been commented, you know, like let's say 3 or 4 hours ago. When you go to Twitter, you go to the search bar, you put in hashtag journo request, and you literally press at the top, it says latest. Press that button, and you'll literally see the latest request that has come through from a journalist. It might be 1 minute ago, 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. If it's relevant, you hop onto it immediately. Don't go, oh, that's lovely. I'm going to go to the gym now, have a quick workout, have a meditation. Forget it. Get on it. And you need to have really punchy response, you know what you're going to say. So a journalist might have her DMs or his DMs open, so you can just literally slide into the DMs. I think you do a few things. You slide into the DM, and you also send them an email, but you have to make sure that you're going to stand out from the crowd. So don't just go, if they go call out amazing beret, you know, sorry, if they're doing, we're doing a fashion roundup for berets, okay? So you don't just go lovely berets here, you go super stylish, eco-friendly, you know, whatever, berets, you know, from designed by, you know, British designs, imported, made in with love in the foothills of the Andes. You know what I mean? Something like that that's going to be grabby for them.
Right. Now, I know the whole pandemic, which is terrible, but what kind of stories is the press looking for? What are they looking for? And is it important to have like a backstory to your brand?
Beautiful question, because everybody likes a backstory. That is how and why people get into the press, because let's just say you're a life coach, okay? I know that's off topic being fashion, but let's just say, or you're a designer, you know, jeans, okay? So what's going to make you being a jeans designer stand out from all the other jeans designers? Well, it's going to be the fact that when you were age 5, you nicked your mother's sewing machine and you were there sewing and creating and selling at the farmer's market. You know, so that is why you're going to stand out from the crowd, and you can say that I created fashions and trends and blah, blah, blah. You know, what is it about you that gives you kudos and credibility for that to make you stand out from all the other jeans designers, let's just say?
Yeah.
What was the other bit of the question? Sorry, I went off tangent there.
It's what's the press looking for? And you've described, you know, having a backstory or bringing your own story in.
Sure, and I actually, with all my training, with all my clients, I refer to that as a golden nugget. Okay, so what is it? The golden nugget about you that makes you stand out from the crowd. Okay, so that's number one. So decide, and also this is really important when you're pitching to the press. You have to make your pitch specific, you know, to that very person you're pitching to. So don't just do a blanket email and go, oh dear, Susie, here's my pitch, my press release, la la la. No, you go, hi Susie, loved your article on biodegradable face masks. That was wonderful, you know, and I'm blah 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 blah. Right. Resonated with me because of X, Y, and Z. Do you know, I've been in the back office, you know, or sorry, in background, I've been creating this amazing range of da da da. It will be really great for your readers because X, Y, and Z. So always put yourself in the shoes of the reader, not of you, me, the seller. Okay, why is it going to be great? Oh, I think my master's brilliant because of X, Y, no. And also, yes, so talking about the pandemic, what can you make that is relevant? You know, when you're making your clothing, how is it going to be beneficial for this, you know, for Corona? I don't know, is it, you know, you just try and hook your story into it. But if you go to journo requests, you will see people making requests, and it will get you an idea and a feeling for what, how you can hook your story. But just think about it. At the moment, we've got Black Lives Matter, okay? So, sorry, not Black Lives Matter, Black History Month, okay?
Yeah.
So for, you know, so that's like a thing that's going on at the moment. That's like an event running for a month. So this client, she has a wonderful range of accessories that she's just designed, and she actually put in Mario, I probably his surname is Itoje. He's like he's the Black England player for the rugby team, England Rugby. Amazing. Okay. So, you know, you kind of hook yourself into what is the relevant event at the time. Okay. And then also with you fashion people, it's like how to look sharp and smart on a Zoom call. That's really important. You don't just need to be wearing your tracksuit bums. You know, how can you be looking funky? Because yeah, this Corona thing's going to be going on for a long time, and so, you know, and we don't need doom and gloom stories or how I have pivoted from being bricks and mortar to selling online. You know, what are the success stories? What are the quirky things that you can pull out? It can't all be doom and gloom, because journalists get pissed off by that. And why do journalists get pissed off? Because we get pissed off, because we're the readers, we're the consumers of what journalists write. That's what you always need to remember. Whenever you're, you know, pitching to the press, think, why is the reader or the viewer or the listener going to enjoy what I'm talking about?
Right. We've had a question come in. I have pivoted my fashion business from full collections to made-to-measure jackets and accessories with bespoke hand beading and embroidery. Lovely. What would you suggest as a good pitch for me?
It would be interesting to know whether you make them yourself. You know, that's the yes. You know, but for the pivot, I mean, the pivot is, you've bloody well pivoted. For starters, you know, it's really inspirational. So well done, first off, for pivoting, for going from full collections. And yes, I mean, you know, is it because it's a lower cost that people are going to have to make the investments, maybe because the economy, you know, people haven't got so much money to spend. But the fact that you're doing, you know, lovely collection, you know, I think it's, you need to inspire. You know, why do you think the reader is going to be really interested about what you're currently offering? Ask your friends or ask your family, or I'll put some posts out on your social media and say, what grabs you about this? What grabs you? And then when you've asked those questions, then you use that in your press, you know, in your pitching, because you've asked the public what grabs, and then that is what hopefully will grab the journo, and then it will grab all the other readers when they read that story about what you're doing.
Okay. I hope I hope that helps. If
I hope
not,
that
post
helps.
another question. Yeah. I hope that. So how do you define your target audience?
How do you define it? You kind of need to
Yeah.
know. I think it's basically a question of creating your client avatar. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, back to my fashion line. I used to have three typical clients. One would be this woman called Trendy Mum Martha. So she'll be 35 with a rich husband, worked in the city. She wouldn't be working, the lucky woman. She'd just be off playing tennis and having, doing cocktails and running with her dog and doing yoga and all that kind of stuff. So that's one avatar. And she'd have a lot of disposable income, so she would be buying from me every year, every season. She'd come and buy from me. That's one avatar. Another avatar I discovered was a woman who'd be 60 plus, and they would come to me every single year. And every year they'd have, let's just say it's this jacket, a beautiful fitted jacket. They loved that, and then next year I'd do, instead of turquoise, I'd do like a brown, not brown, or do purples, and then so they would literally buy every single piece of my collection every single year. So I called that woman Retired Rose. And then I'd have another person, because I used to have men's jumpers, and I used to call him City Slicker Sebastian. So he as in, men like him would be buying for their wives or buying the jumpers for him. And so it's when you understand who your client avatar is, it really helps you when you're doing your newsletters, when you're pitching to the press. What you do is you speak to that very person. Okay, so if I'm speaking to Retired Rose, if I'm doing my newsletter, I will speak more in her language, get myself into my head of her. And also, a really great thing to do is to make 3 mood boards of your clients, okay, of your client avatar. So one mood board is Trendy Mum Martha, and you have all the lovely pictures and her house, so then when you're actually creating for her, you can see her. And then you have Retired Rose, you know who she is, she's grey haired but elegant, and then you've got good looking Sebastian. So you've got these 3 avatars, and then whenever you're doing your sewing, you're designing, whatever, you go, oh yeah, I'm doing it for her, I'm not doing it for Rose, this is for her. And it really helps you, A, with what you're designing, B, with what you're pitching, and C, with your marketing and messaging.
Excellent. Now, can you do PR on a budget?
Yes, you can, because I did mine on 0 budget when I first started doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it on a budget, but can I do a plug? Because you can do it on a budget, but you can do it also for 49 quid if you join my PR club, and I teach everybody all my secrets. But if you can do a PR on a budget, you don't need to use an agency if you're confident enough. Basically you can hire a PR agency to do it, and that's going to cost you a lot of money. But if you want to do it on a budget, you've really got to know inside out the publication you want to get into. You need to know why you're pitching. You need to know your press hook and all those amazing things, and also create your press kit. So, there are lots of elements to do with going to the press. You don't literally, tonight, you're not going to suddenly write a press release and get loads of press coverage. You need to research the journalist, create your press kit, and a press release, all this good, there are quite a few steps. But once you've kind of got those steps under your belt, I say, when you've learned how to do it, the beautiful thing is it's a business skill that you have for life. It's amazing knowing how to do self-promo. It's like, oh my God, it's a godsend.
Yes, and I'm leading up to what are the secrets of good PR, but it sounds like you've touched on a few.
Yeah, the secrets of good, like I've just said, it's all those things I've just said, pretty much.
Yes. Now I also noticed, which I think is amazing, you have 7 surefire ways to triple your media visibility in 30 days.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a 31-day self-promo calendar. I think that's what you're referring to.
Okay.
Basically, it is, I have a product, which is a calendar. Well, it's not a calendar, it's a spreadsheet, but it's got 31 ideas on what you can do in order to boost your visibility. And it gives you massive self-confidence, because not everybody likes to self-promote at all. And actually you think, oh my God, I've got to do self-promo every single day. No, self-promo is 80% helping, 20% pushing. Okay.
Okay.
So within these, these 30 things, 31 things, you'll probably find, 80% are going to be nice and help out a journalist, retweet a journalist, make sure you make a comment with it, and doing stuff like that. But what you're doing is you're getting onto the radar of your dream influencer.
Okay, wonderful. And you also, if you could share, you have 4 simple steps or process to go from invisible to irresistible.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't mind that.
I think you're very irresistible already. You don't need to do that, darling. Basically, that's a training. That's title is actually from a training I have, which is on my website, and it's really just showing you, fall in love with self-promo. I can't remember now, but basically, it's like 4 very important steps that you need to do in order to, become your own PR agency for you. What else is there? I can't remember now, but yeah, it's a free training. Go to my website, you can just watch it and get inspired and take action. The most important thing about all of this is actually to take action.
Do you find that small businesses and brands come up against challenges when they think about PR, like confusion about who to contact, finding the time, the confidence? Do you help with all of those things?
Of course I do. I've had people joining me who've been like, oh, I can't say boo to a goose, whatever, being really shy because people don't like to self-promote. But actually, all I do is I give people permission. So you can actually go off and do it. But obviously, they're learning also from my tips about how to do it in the right way, not just suddenly to go, yeah, I'm amazing, okay? But you certainly can go off, do your own PR. It's a great thing to do, and actually journalists love to hear from entrepreneurs. Okay, I went to a panel event a few years ago actually, and the panelist leader said, okay, journalists, there are 4 of them, who do you prefer to hear from, the PR or from the entrepreneur? And all 4 of them put their hand up and said the entrepreneur. Why? Because we are so hungry to promote our businesses. So if you have a PR agency working for you, sometimes, if they've got an agent and they've got loads of other clients, you're going to have a set amount of hours that they can dedicate to you, and they won't be able to respond always on time. So sometimes journalists' big pet peeves are the fact that PRs don't get back to them in time. But if you're running your own PR campaign yourself, you're going to be hot on it. What I say to my clients is make every Wednesday at 11 a.m. PR hour, okay, power hour. Or what you should do really, Monday through Friday, 15 minutes in the morning, go to your hashtag journal request, let's say 10:30, and then go back to it at 3:30. I believe you can do your own PR and you literally can get press coverage if you dedicate 30 minutes a day to it. It's true, I promise you.
Wow.
But you've got to be consistent.
Yes, consistency is key. It's definitely key. One last question, sort of. If you can share, I know you said briefly before what your offers are, but I did want to conclude with what you offer new clients and what programs you have, and possibly just say your website again.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes. Yeah. So my website is amandapr.com, very easy. And then I have 2 ways of working with people. I have a VIP Signature Mastermind, which I run for 6 months, okay? And that is me hand-holding you to get into the press. It's a group program, but it's pretty much, not one-on-one, but pretty much one-on-one. Shh, don't tell anybody. Anyway, but and I'm helping you, and I'm kicking your ass, giving you tough love, pushing you. If you haven't done anything that week, it's like, okay, I think, have you not heard the news? And haven't you could be responding to this piece. So I'm very on top, not very on top, but quite, because I want my clients to get the results. It's really important. Right. So that's great, and people get results, and they're being interviewed, and they're pitching themselves, and I also do a bit of pitching on the side as well to give them a nice little surprise. Then I have something, and that's high investment, okay, and I have a low investment, which is literally from £45 or £49, depending whether you take the year or just the monthly. The monthly one is called the Sexy Flexi. And that is my PR club. And then in the PR Club, you learn all the stuff which I've been teaching you. And it's a really lovely community. It's you know, not huge, but it's a great community. And you get my free tools, or not free tools because you're paying £49, but it's a membership. And then you can join in with all the fun. And you can have the opportunity to win what my VIP clients get once a month. We do a pitch clinic. So I invite a journalist, and my clients pitch to a journalist. It's such good training. Like yesterday I did it, and we had Bianca Barrett, who writes for Refinery 29. She writes for Forbes, and she was actually quite interested in all of the entrepreneurs who pitched. So it's a really great way, in a loving environment, not scary, because you're pitching to a journalist and they know that they're there to help you and to ask you questions in a journalist way. It's amazing. People, you know, my clients love it. So, and it really gets results. People have been on the telly as a result, being featured here. So it really works. So you either got £49 or £6,000 if you work with me for a month. I mean, for 6 months, that is.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Well, that was very quick and informative. Thank you very, very much for spending this time with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I hope it's been helpful.
Yes, definitely. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Join us again next week. Our guest will be social media specialist Lauren Alawalia. Until then, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.